Alright, I decided to do a video about the new patch coming out for World of Warcraft that introduces this stupid, shitty mercenary mode. I'm going to explain to you why I think it's that, because I think WoW is evolving and catering to a whole different group of fans. And I'll just give you a little timeline before everyone gets upset, because there's a lot of you who think this is a good idea. I'm sure there's a lot more who think this is a bad idea. But let me just give you a little timeline as to why people are getting upset. World of Warcraft was like 10 years ago when it started. Vanilla days, which I played. I never did the raids, but I did. We got up, level, I think 59 was the closest I got, like a month and a half before BC came out. I made a lot of different characters, but I pretty much read everything I could about the game, and I watched my friend do his raids. Regardless of that, though, the game was really good. I mean, it had a lot of adventure qualities to it. You had to go out and explore. There were a lot of bugs, and it was pretty hard. Alliance definitely had the shit end of the stick when it came to leveling to 60, because there was a lot of quests they could not get. You just had to simply grind out mobs. And everyone pretty much thought the Horde was favored because they had shamans who were super overpowered, and they had a lot more quests. But regardless, there was no battlegrounds for a while. It was all world PvP. You had all kinds of PvP videos, and there was always the eternal war between Terran Mill and South Shore. But then they introduced battlegrounds and honor kills and the honor system and the dishonor system, which was really stupid. They took out, but the honor kill system was great. You had ranks. You had to earn your way up through the battlegrounds, and the battlegrounds were awesome. Especially Alterac Valley, you could have like a 4-day epic battle, as I'm sure everyone has heard about, but it really was good. Then the first expansion came out, and that was Burning Crusade. Nothing really changed that much in the game's actual design. You still had a better questing hub, obviously, because it's ranged out. There was a lot of real PvP because you were forced to quest with your other faction, and they had Nagran. They had this place called Hala, and a lot of world PvP there, because if you won that zone, you were able to turn in certain things to get reputation and stuff like that. But they also introduced arenas, which were a huge deal and awesome. They were really fun and just a great idea. After that, Wrath came out, probably one of the best questings I've ever experienced. The zones were amazing, but really easy heroic dungeons, and the raids were pretty simple. As a lot of people can contest to, except for Oldar heroic modes, the fake heroics, not like the ones now where you can set them up. You had to do certain things for it to activate, but regardless, the PvP stuff they added, no new battlegrounds except for Strand of the Ancients, which was like a vehicle-based one. I'm sure a lot of you played it. It's way different now than it was then. And they had a world PvP zone called Wintergrass. And the way it worked is someone had a base, and the other one was attacking this temple, and then if you won that temple, you could fight one of the titans that was in there to get loot. So it was a pretty cool setup. And even if the factions were outnumbered, you had buffs if you were outnumbered a lot by the other faction, and you could sometimes win that way, sometimes not. But it wasn't like how Ashran is now. So that was pretty much it for Wrath. And then they introduced, I believe that's when they introduced the random dungeon finder, which kind of started getting rid of the whole, knowing people on your server and grouping with them kind of thing, because now you could just group up with whoever you want. Then Cataclysm came out, and to me, that almost destroyed the game. I think not only did it ruin Azeroth, literally changing some of the greatest areas of the game with Thousand Needles is just never going to be awesome again. It's so boring and a horrible quest line out there. It used to be so much more entertaining, but now it's just crap. But there's a few new battlegrounds. Heroics were supposed to be hard again. They were damn near impossible when they first came out. And then the worst system I think ever implicated in this game came near the end of the expansion, with the release of Deathwing's Raid, was that fucking LFR system that catered to people that were crying and crying because they couldn't get stuff. So instead of earning it or just taking the time in an MMO where you're supposed to take time to get things, you can just basically get anything you want for free with no trying. You can get all your little loot and then that's it. So that was a whole new designer group that started Cataclysm. They changed everything. All the questing hubs in each zone was set up. Just it's really easy. It's just a really simple game. There's no exploration anymore. It's all just cut out, cookie cutter, a map of where to go. It's really simple. Then Mists of Pandaria came out, and a lot of us were hoping that it would change things. Um, as far as it changing things, I don't know. The environments are really cool. The quests were boring as hell. Um, I had no problem with the panda race, and the monk class is whatever. I mean, it's not the coolest thing I've seen or experienced leveling up. Um, they introduced new battlegrounds, but they also made PvEers have to win a battleground to continue the legendary cloak quest, which was a really bad idea because not only are there two kinds of people, there are PvPers and PvEers. Why would you try to force them to play with each other? Um, and there was no real PvP. I mean, that was all pretty much gone. There was a few servers that did certain things, but I mean, generally you just quested through and then you did LFRs and random heroics until you were able to join a pug. I mean, that's all WoW was at that time, especially with the shitty dailies they had. So I mean, a lot of people were still pretty disappointed with the game, and then Warlords was previewed, and everyone kind of got excited, a lot more excited, because they said they were gonna fix most of this. They were gonna have a lot of the original crew back because they weren't working on their Project Titan anymore, and that's fine. So when that game came out, or expansion, I mean, the cutscenes are really awesome, really lore-driven story. I really like that, and not really world PvP. I mean, you're instanced out of every zone. You don't see most of the time you don't see other factions unless you're like around the same quest chain kind of thing. As most of you know how the game works. So now, in over 4 different expansions, you went from a game that you would see your enemies and they would be part of your world, and you could decide if they were going to be a factor or not, to you're being forced to not see them, and now you're being forced not to play with your own realm people, and now you're just basically taking a tour of a game. You're not going out to do your own stuff. You're just doing what they give you, which is not what a game should have been. That's not what an MMO should be. You should be able to go explore, find areas, find a mob you can't kill, go to your server and ask like 4 people to come help you fight it. Now it doesn't matter. They don't have any of that in the game. All they had in Warlords was they tried to add like little bonus events that were just killing a bunch of mobs for bonus experience, which is the same thing as grinding, except for a little more reward at the end. And then they had little treasures that you could find, but it's not a big deal. There's add-ons. You can find these treasures anywhere, but there's no more like mysterious. You can't. There's nothing you're gonna find in this game that you found. It's all gonna be like, okay, it's set up here. We'll show you where this is at. So, I mean, that's a huge downside, but it's catered to casual players, and mainly these kids that enjoy getting their rewards first before earning them. And a lot of people disagree with like where the game is going with that. They don't think think these systems are good. They let players enjoy all the content, whatever. I think it's all bullshit, and the reason why is this mercenary system that they're introducing. Now, because battleground queues are a little long, Ashran's like 40 minutes, which I wish kids understood back then. These were like short queue times. It used to be like 3 hours at some times. But regardless, they're going to let you, as an alliance or horde, queue up as a mercenary, right? This mercenary, and then you go to the other faction to fight for them, to fight against your own faction. So basically, if you're fighting over Ashran, and there's not enough of your enemy to fight, then you can join your enemy's side to fight your own side. That way you can just get into the battleground, which is a fucking stupid idea. It makes no sense. And you're not even a mercenary. really they just reskin your guy. So if you're a human warrior, you just look like an orc warrior, and no one on that faction will know that you are a mercenary. So it's just another lazy catering thing for kids that are impatient and demand everything right away. And because of that, this game is turning into something completely fucking stupid. And this is a horrible fucking idea. And they're gonna keep doing this because the new wave generation of these gamers are just whiny bitches, and they want everything now. And now Blizzard's catering to them and not their loyal fans who had to go through all the painstaking bugs and the systems that didn't work right. But they haven't really adjusted to it. You can still make questing adventures long and fun without making them annoying. I mean, some of the quests in vanilla, yes, were annoying, but now you go 4 feet to the left and kill like two guys, and then you go back, and then they give you two more quests, and it just goes 10 feet the other direction, and then the quest hub's like, all right, we're gonna go to this spot up north, and then it's the same thing. You just stay in each little part of the map until you complete the map. That's stupid. You should be able just to go find quests like you used to be. But I'm not going to rant about that. I'm just thinking that you knew people to understand that this was a game about exploration like an MMO should be, with the threat of war against your other faction. And now they're taking pretty much all that away. And I have no idea what they're going to be doing in the next expansion, but I am pretty sure that I am done with this game. And I think that a lot of you new fans that are enjoying this catering shit deserve to have what the final outcome will be, because you're not going to enjoy a game that gives you everything. I promise you that.